This will be the last GMC talks of this year, so we got to go out with a bang. I remember I brought this up a few GMC talks ago. I brought this up about a crazy bowler that we serviced in which nothing was making sense, but that wasn't the craziest service call that we've been on. But guys, real quick before I go into this, for you guys that like Slim Jims, this is part of how I get my 194 grams of protein a day. Not just protein shakes, you got your chicken breast too, as long as it adds up to 194 grams. Now, this is specifically for me, but guys, you just can't live off supplements. You need actual protein. You need actual food as well, but I like these. The brand on this is Chomps. Get this at your local grocery store, but 10 grams of protein, you can't go wrong with that. But guys, look at this. Another thing, this is a call I had earlier. Guys, this is an in and out call. What you see here is it's a Takeo 3-wire zone valve. Guys, like I mentioned before, I always replace these Takeo heads. I never had to replace 4-wire Honeywell zone valve head. But with this particular one, guys, as you see here, terminals 1, 2, and 3, we were getting power at this valve. Everything was hooked up right, and the thermostat was calling, but the pipe coming out, like it was an entry point and an exit point. The entry point was burning hot, but the outlet from this valve was cold. And the only way we can get it hot is by manually opening this. And this is how we got the customer by until, like you said, until we came back to replace this zone valve head. But guys, yeah, with these zone valve heads, I mean, when they work, they work. When they don't, they don't. I mean, I get the idea behind these. These are supposed to be slow opening or slow closing to prevent water hammer. The customer didn't have water hammer, but this thing actually just didn't open up at all. This was like a stuck closed valve. But guys, like I said, I mentioned this in previous videos. Never just assume. Always, like I said, verify. I don't care how tedious this is. Make sure you guys are first verifying that these zone valves are hooked up right, because if this zone valve wasn't hooked up right, we would have ran across the same scenario. So make sure you guys are making sure these zone valves are wired up correctly first. Second, you want to make sure that the appropriate zone is calling, for this particular zone valve. Make sure the appropriate thermostat is calling. Last thing you want to do is replace this zone valve, and then, God forbid, like I said, you turned on the wrong thermostat, and now, congratulations, you're back to where you came from. But like I said, guys, go through your checklist. Once again, I call it, my particular checklist is the Monday morning quarterback. You go through your check downs, go through your procedures. You don't just assume, like I said, these parts are bad, because, it's a bad feeling. You spending 10 hours to diagnose this, and then you think you're getting saved by the bell by just assuming it's a bad zone valve. And now, guess what, guys? You're going to be back tomorrow to face the exact same thing. So I've been there and done that, guys. I already made enough mistakes, enough to hopefully prevent someone else from doing what I did. So, guys, like I said, checking for power, making sure it's hooked up right, verifying that, like I said, boiler pressure is correct. There's a bunch of variables that go into it, but if everything else checks out and it's still not opening up, I mean, guys, this is just a no-brainer to replace the zone valve head. But for you guys just getting in here, I'm just going over our worst call that we took on. Guys, I got a few minutes. I got another call I got to get to, but I got like at least a good 30-35 minutes. But guys, hold on. I'm on a tight street right now. I gotta close this mirror in so nobody hit my mirror. But guys, let's talk about it. And let me look at the comments here. W Tips, yep, appreciate it. Manuel, what's going on? I reset it. Hey Stratton, what you mean reset it and turn the heat up? For you guys that's just getting in, I was just talking about the call I had earlier. It wasn't really worth me putting this on video because I didn't diagnose it. One of my other guys diagnosed it. I just came back to replace this zone valve head. But like I said, for the most part, I already made enough videos on like zone valves. You guys, my zone valve repairs are going to be under my bowler related section. So all my bowler content, I'm pretty sure you guys will see shorts and like long form videos about me talking about what I just said. But guys, that was an in and out call. But guys, every time I remember these crazy Spider-Man stories, guys, I got to put this in my GMC talks. But for you guys that's just getting in, I got to talk about these crazy jobs that we took on between 2016 and 2018. And guys, at that time, we're fresh out. I had HVAC experience, but I was at that point where I was definitely not turning. I wasn't saying no. I was trying to pick up as many customers as I can. And guys, I remember this summer like it was yesterday. Guys, if you remember the GMC talks I had a while ago about the job that we actually turned down, that commercial job with the ductwork missing and the GC, he actually filled everything in. He closed up the ceilings and the walls, and he left the ductwork exposed. This was actually the same year. I think that was 2017, guys. This is a different customer, by the way, but all this happened within the course of a month. So I remember this call, guys. I think this was from for you guys that deal with these pay-per-click advertisings. I think this was from Home Advisor or Angie's List. This is like a brand new customer. And guys, this customer called us in the summertime for a no AC call. He goes, yeah, I got a condenser. I live in an apartment complex on such and such. I'm like, yeah, I know where that's at. He was like, I'm like, yeah, tell you what, where's the outside unit? Is it on the ground or the roof? I asked him this over the phone because I didn't have a ladder on that particular van. Like at that time, guys, with that GMC Safari I didn't have a ladder rack. So like anytime I asked the customer, whether it be a no AC or no heat call, if I need a ladder, I'll have to rent one. And guys, like I did what I had to do at that time. Like I was just fresh out. I was learning as I was going along. But like this customer goes, yeah, the condenser's on the roof, but yeah, you will need like a 12-foot ladder to get to the unit. And I'm like, all right, tell you what, let's put you on the schedule for tomorrow or the next day after, blase, because I had to go to was a Home Depot. I had to rent me a 15-foot ladder. So guys, make a long story short, I get out here, and for you guys that are just getting in, I gotta it's a story time again. I gotta go over some Spiderman shit I had to do. And I don't recommend you guys doing this, you know. Luckily I survived enough I survived so I can come back and tell you guys what not to do, but not everybody makes it through this, what I'm getting ready to tell you. So yeah, guys, like I booked the call. The only thing I know is like, so what the customer told me over the phone, he has a coil in the basement and he has the condenser on the roof, and I need a 12-foot ladder to get to the unit. So I'm like, all right, maybe, you know, there's a roof hatch and I have to, you know, for you guys that's familiar with those style houses, you know, second floor or third floor roof hatch, get you a 12-foot, you know, A-frame ladder. You can hop up on the roof like that. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, you know, this is ABCs. If I can get to the unit, I can do what I need to do. And guys, I'm not in this area. I'm using what I'm about to show you for reference so y'all can see here, right? Check this out. So for you guys that I'm showing you guys what I got up there. So you guys see that brown house there, right? And you see the White House. Once again, this is an apartment complex that this customer lived in. He told me his unit was like in apartment A5 or something like that, guys. There were like 20 people living in that building, 20 different tenants. So guys, make a long story short, right? And once again, my brain wasn't fully developed as a business owner like how it is now. So like at this point, guys, I'm like, you know what? I'm here. I got to try to get to this unit. What the guy conveniently left out, right? I got up on the roof and he told me, he was like, yeah, my unit is somewhere on the other side. But the dude didn't tell me that his unit was actually on another building. I repeat, guys, the coil was in the basement, but the fucking unit was on another roof. So I'm like, dude, like, I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, yeah, how you go from one roof to another? The buildings are connected, but you're gonna need a 12-foot ladder or a 15-foot ladder to get from one roof to another, and the other roof is actually on an A-frame roof. And I'm like, dude, why would they put your unit? I'm like, why would they put your unit on another roof? That doesn't make any sense. Like for convenience, like you need to have everything close together. And the guy was like it's always been that way. And he was like, once again, he was like, I had another guy that used to come out to service it, but I can't get him to answer the phone. And I'm like, guys, I get this shit every summer, like at least once every summer between July and August. I get that customer that has a crazy unit in the location, and they tell me the same thing. Yeah, I had a guy, but he couldn't. I had a guy that usually services this unit, but I can't get in contact with him. Guys, what I did, and like I said, if I would have thought about this for like maybe like an hour more, I probably would have just walked away, guys. Like that job wasn't worth it. But at that time, guys, like I said, I needed to fill up the schedule. What I did was I went up on the roof and I put a 12-foot ladder down from his roof to get to another roof. And guys, try to imagine what I'm telling y'all. I got my refrigerant gauges. I got a handful of tools. I'm jumping from one roof to another, and the roof that we got on, and for context here, imagine you guys getting on one roof to another, and it's like a 15-foot drop. You gotta literally get up on the roof, and the customer had a ladder to get up on his roof, but like I had to bring another ladder over and down, guys, and like I'm not doing this free-handed. I still got tools in my hand, but the roof that the unit is on, they didn't support it, so it was sketchy as hell. So like, luckily his unit was like low on refrigerant, and like I straight up told him, I'm like, look, this might be a one-time thing. I'm like, based on what I see, I'm like, yeah, your unit is low on refrigerant. And this was like a newer condenser. It was a straight AC 410A condenser. And I'm like, yeah, the unit is low on refrigerant. But I'm like, sir, I got to be honest with you. Like, based on what's happening now, like, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to get back out here. And I'm like, we can probably fill it up. But if you have a major leak, if it doesn't work past what I'm doing right now, if it leaks back out, you probably gonna have to have someone cut this unit out, relocate it. But I made sure he knew that. Like I said, I wasn't, after I jump across to add refrigerant, I'm not going back to touch that unit. He was like, yeah, tell you what, I understand. You know, you're like the fifth person I called. Like, no one's answering. It was hot as hell that day too. He was like, yeah, you're like the fifth person I called. Like, whatever you can do to get me up and going, I appreciate it. So guys, like I said, I had, you know, I did what I had to do. Put the gauges around my neck. I got my can of 410A, and like, luckily it was easy repair. But like, guys, going up and down that ladder like that, like, that's not the way that, like, I can put money on it. Maybe they put those units on the roof because they didn't want people to steal them. That would have been my primary guess. But like I said, the customer said that they put all those units on the roof. It's been that way for years. But like, I'm like, shit, I'm curious how they even replace this unit. That unit was like under 4 years old at the time. I'm like, I mean, if he wasn't there, maybe they used a crane, or like they had to use his neighbor's roof on the other building to get his unit on their roof. And I'm like, liability reasons, like if your unit leaks water and damages someone else's roof, like that. Guys, I had so many questions about that setup. I don't know if it was like some type of slumlord that sold him that setup, guys, but like, and he was a cool guy, but I'm like, bro, like, the more I see this job, the more fucked up it gets. I'm like, hey, the only thing I'm here for is to make sure your AC is working. But I'm like, dude, if your system malfunctions and it hits something else, like, you're gonna have to assume liability because it's not on your property. And I'm like, he was like, yeah. He was like, I understand. There's a lot of things that's like, that's definitely sketchy with this building. Like, we're gonna try our best to just try to hopefully get by with the AC, but it's a lot of things that we're gonna have to self-correct. And I'm like, shit, yeah, man, you're damn right, because it's, guys, like I said, doing that, like, even if one of my guys tried to explain, you know, if they have a no AC or no heat call, if you got to put your health in at risk to get to a unit, guys, it's no way in hell I'm gonna expect me or one of my other guys to do jobs, guys. Like, and like, looking back on it, guys, like, that repair wasn't even worth the cost. Like, I charged the customer a little bit of my time to, like, set the ladders up and do all that. But like, guys, like that, eventually you keep doing jobs like that, you're gonna fuck around and hurt yourself or kill yourself. And it's like, doing jobs like that, guys, like, I understand, you know, I can't knock anybody's hustle. There's always gonna be somebody that's willing to do everything for $5, but the issue isn't the money. The issue is with the convenience of getting to the you know, the equipment, the location, like, and that's 100% not my responsibility as far as how the systems are situated, you know, like. And I can only assume, guys, like I said, you know, whoever installed that, it really didn't care about, you know, serviceability. But like, mind you, this is back in 2017 with, you know, those units on the roof. But like, guys, like, for you guys that work in inner cities, whether it be Newark, whether it be Philly, some parts of New York, like some apartment buildings that have straight AC units in some neighborhoods, it does benefit them not to put equipment on the ground. Like what you guys see here, they got ductless mini split units and they're hanging on the wall there. Like, that is cool, but like, sometimes, like I said, it's not, you don't have the space in some neighborhoods to put condensers on the ground. And of course, like I said, if you're putting a condenser on the ground, you're gonna have to build like a cage around it. So like, I understand that aspect, like, you know, but sometimes, guys, like I said, putting the unit on a roof and saying, fuck it, like, if it works, it works. Yeah, it's cool, but wait until it breaks down. For one, you know, some companies don't have the utility to get to a unit like set on another roof. And then two, like, you're asking for problems, because like, if it keeps breaking down, whoever fixes it is going to have to charge you a premium just for getting to the unit, you know, like, who wants to deal with that? So like, guys, like I said, from that job, I'm like, you know what, man, all money isn't good money. And like I said, that's the tip I want to pass to you guys. Like, make sure you guys are, you got to know how to say no. Like, I don't know. That's something you got to learn for yourself. Like I said, like, I'm talking as a service provider. I don't care if you run your own shop or if you work under someone else. Like, if you're scared to say no, then, like, at that point, you deserve what happens to you. Because, like, if you say no, the customer's just going to find another company. Like, it's not like someone's putting a gun to your head and make you jump between 3 roofs to fix a unit, guys. Like, I mean, that's something I had to learn the hard way. I'm like, yo, like, I didn't get hurt from this, but I'm like, if something would have happened to me on that job, like, it would have been a wrap, man. And all for what? Me just trying to get another customer, because I'm still building business. Like, guys, like, I mentioned this in previous videos. Like, I feel like there's enough out here for everybody. I'm saying, like, customers, I never had to hate or, like, try to down another company to, like, big my own company up. The only thing I have, guys, is my wherewithal, and I know, like, my history, I'm talking within HVAC and dealing with people. That's all, like I said, that's what I came in with, and that's what I'm gonna lead with. It doesn't, like, behoove me to, like, say, yeah, you don't want to hire such and such plumbing or such and such electric. I may talk shit up based on what I see. Like I said, if I know a unit kick somebody's ass, I'm gonna definitely say, hey, this whoever came out here before, this unit kick your ass. But, like, guys, it doesn't benefit me, like, to call another company out. Like, I don't get, and once again, like, that's not how my mindset is wired, guys. Like, if I get to a customer's house and they tell me, hey, like, such and such came out and they couldn't fix it, at that point, guys, I'm like, all right, now if I'm at the property, now it's on me. Like, at that point, the only thing I need to do is see how to get to the thermostat and see how to get to the system. But, like, at that point, guys, I don't really care about what happened before I got there, because, like, now we're here now. Like, let's try our best to get this customer up and going. But, like, that's one thing I always teach. Like, there's abundance. You gotta have that mentality that it's always gonna be a new customer out there for you. But, like, the moment you start looking backwards and now you start hating, and, like, once again, the company down the street that's doing 20 installs, now you're thinking they're taking money away from you. Like, if you think like that, then you think like that. And like I said, now that's going to turn you to a negative and a hating ass person, man. But, like, me, what we get is what we get. And, like I said, we help a lot of customers out, and most of the customers we get are from jobs we did before. So, like, guys, like, I know if we didn't do a good job, most of these customers wouldn't call us back. So, like, and I'm not tooting my own horn. This is just basic shit. You get what I'm saying? But, like, it's easy for someone that doesn't know that to get discouraged, and now they start comparing themselves to other companies. Yeah, I mean, this 100-person company is doing X, Y, Z. Well, good for them. Like, you got to assume these jobs don't magically appear out of nowhere. Like, it's probably someone that paid $100 per lead, or someone that did a bunch of follow-ups to get these jobs. But, like, you have to think, like, next person up, next customer up. Like, and let's say worst case scenario, if the job you did today, whether it be a service call, you couldn't fix it, an install, you couldn't do it the same day, you got to wait till the next day, like, or estimate. If you didn't close the estimate, learn from what you're going through. That's the easiest way you can do it. I'm not saying that's the only way. You should learn from what you do and learn from other people as well. Remember, like, understanding perspectives, but, like, you don't want to just get too in your own way, and then, like, now, like, once you limit your perspective, now, like I said, you're gonna start, like I said, now that's 48 laws of power, guys. Like, you don't want to build a wall up around yourself. You want to make sure, for one, you got some self-confidence in yourself, but you have to understand that, everything you learn, like, everything you see is only going to better you in the end, so, like, that's why, like I said, that hating shit, man, you got to throw that out the window, my man. Like, it's really nothing else. It's no competition out there. Your only competition is, like I said, who you was before. And assuming, like I said, you guys stay in a progressive mind state, I mean, it's only up from here. But, like, shit, I don't see a shortage of money. And I understand, guys, and this is why I hate talking about politics and economics. I understand, guys, around the holidays, people don't want to spend. I understand, the cost of XYZ is up. Guys, eventually, none of that shit is in our control. I'm saying us as HVAC companies, as long as we can stay on top of being there when customers call us and providing options, it's going to be what it's going to be. Like, and that's, I think that's, like, common sense. But, like, I don't really get into, like, the gossip and, like, 5 years ago, this condenser was like $200 less. I mean, shit. And once again, if you're priced right, then, like I said, it's just everything's gonna balance itself out. But it's just like that gossiping and, like, just like, what are we talking about? Like, are you prepared for your next opportunity? If yeah, then, like, you have nothing to worry about. But if you're not prepared for your next opportunity, then you got to get on your ground, my man. Like, what are we talking about right now? Like, that's why, yeah, you guys, like I said, I mentioned this more than once. Like, you guys already know how I roll. Like, it's just, you stay in an abundance mindset and you prepare. And, like I said, like, once anything comes up, literally, like I said, that's how the universe works, man. You can, like, will things to your advantage. But, like, all these random opportunities that's happening right now, it doesn't mean nothing if you're not sure of yourself or if you're not prepared for a certain moment. You understand what I'm saying, guys? But let me look at the comments here, guys. Yeah, I'll be talking some bullshit in these comments, man. Let's see here. Mariah Lopez, what's going on? The Happy Hippie Flame Sensor, what are you talking about? And Kevin Jones, I might just block you. You just on some nonsense. Like I said, guys, you got anything productive to say, you can holler at me, but any bullshit comments, you can get off my page with that. But yeah, guys, like I said, based on the crazy calls that I was just telling you guys about, like, I mean, luckily we got past that, and like, I mean, I don't have any crazy stories about guys falling off roofs. I mean, it happens every day. Guys get hurt, you know, doing HVAC, but eventually, like, guys, it's on you to understand, you know, is this job really worth it? You know, am I going on a sketchy ladder? Am I not putting the ladder down on solid ground? Like, guys, eventually, like I said, you know, if you choose to overlook your safety and put your safety at risk, then, like, you know, unfortunately, like I said, something's going to happen to you. You're going to regret it. Like, and I hate to see, you know, anybody I know, or like, I hate to look online and see guys get paralyzed or worst case, kill themselves based off of general safety concerns, you know, like, and like I said, guys, and that's the disadvantage sometimes of doing what we do. You know, you're not going to know what you're going to see until you get there. Like, if a customer has a boiler covered in crap downstairs and you can't get to it, you know, that you need space to work, guys. Like, and that's something that needs to be understood. And most customers do understand it, but like I said, guys, you got to understand that most customers don't care about HVAC until it breaks. So like, even if they know that the basement needs to get cleaned, if that boiler or that furnace or that AC has been working for 20 years, why would they care about cleaning it up now if it's still working? So like that, guys, and that's some customer service stuff here, or human interaction stuff you need to know. Like, the stuff we do is not glamorous, so you can't really expect the customer to care that much or be that proactive. Some customers are, but like, you have to really give them some grace. Like, I don't really, you know, like I said, the call I came from, if a customer has something like, say, in the way of the boiler, I don't need that much space to service and do what I do. Like, that's the beauty of experience. The more you guys actually get to this, I mean, you know, the more experience you get of doing heat and AC work, you'll understand. Like, you get more efficient at it. You don't need a perfect example. Like, I don't need equipment on the ground every single call for me to get in and out and you know, get to what I got to get to. But guys, like, I mean, like I said, this is like all common sense of what I'm telling y'all. But like, try your best to, like I said, work smart out there, and eventually, like I said, you'll have stories to tell on your own. But like, you have to make it there first, you know. And like, that starts by, you know, for one, having to, you know, make sure you got your experience up, make sure you guys are competent in, you know, in your aspect of the field, whether it be install, service, sales. But like, once you guys get competent in your experience, I mean, don't forget to have fun with this shit. That's kind of like what it boils down to. Because if you're not having fun with this and you're doing everything for money, eventually, like I said, money is up and down. It's not going to always feel the same, you know. So like, you got to incorporate like other values and principles into your work as well. Like, you know, the shit I do, guys, I'm telling you, like, and there's going to be 1,000,001 other GMC talks. Like I said, like, I got plenty of stories. I just forgot most of them. But like I said, you know, me seeing this roof that I showed y'all, that just made me like think about it. I'm like, yo, like, I got on the roof with an extra 12-foot ladder, and then I put the 12-foot ladder down on another roof. And I'm like, if I try to explain half the shit I did at that time, it didn't make sense. But it's just like, I really, like, that's how much I wanted, like I said, to get my feet wet with, you know, once I started the business. Because like, that motivated me, guys. Once I knew that, like I said, that paycheck wasn't guaranteed, I'm like, I just can't stop working. And like I said, you know, if it's not going to work, then like, I'm always going to give my best effort, man. And like, you know, and like I said, I did more good than, it was more good than bad that came out of, like I said, that maximum effort. But like, at that time, guys, like, you know, and like I said, you know, that's the beauty of experience. Now, you know, it doesn't take me going on. Now I can ask a customer, hey, like, where's the location of the unit? XYZ. That call out I told y'all about with the condenser on the other roof, I could have pretty much discerned that just by talking over the phone, you know. But like, eventually, guys, like I said, you're not going to really have foresight on every single job you go on. Sometimes you got to see it, but just because you see a job and and the place looks crazy, that don't always mean you gotta take on the job. You know, let that be someone else's problem, because like, you know, you hurt yourself, man. Like, the customer's not gonna care. They're gonna call another company out. So like, your primary goal is to make sure you can walk away from this shit, you know, and you know, health on the other end, make sure you guys are taking care of your health. But from a safety standpoint, like on the job safety, make sure you guys do have your kneeling pads, got your headlights, make sure you know where you're stepping if you're in the attic. But like, guys, like I said, this is everyday shit. You know, it's really on you. It's not your boss's job. It's not your manager's job. It's not the office person's job to tell you how to take care of yourself. But like, you know, everything I'm telling you is gonna be somebody that just try to Superman and shit, and you know, they end up with a broken leg for a couple months. Like, that's not a pretty place you want to be in. Being disabled for what? Just due to you not doing your due diligence. Like, that's not something you guys want to deal with. So like, but guys, I got to get to my next call. But the call I just came from, this was a 2-part service call for, I think this is a boiler not working. I think this one had a bad circulator pump. I'm going to put the diagnosis up. That circulator pump is going to be a pain in the ass to get to, but I'm going to put that up. If not today, I'm going to put that up tomorrow, and then we're going to come back out there next week, probably next Monday, to do the circulator pump. But guys, like, you're going to see that in 2 parts there. But guys, I got to get going. Keep rocking and rolling. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.